Every single person in this world has a story to share. Your story is your superpower, and it's unique to you. In sharing it with the world, you can impact millions of people. If you keep it to yourself, you are doing the world a disservice. This is Dela. I'm the host of Dela's Voice, and I help you share your superpower with the world.
Hello, wherever you are. I hope you are well, and at this moment are ready to spend the next hour with Dela's Voice. So welcome to another episode of the Sunday Live Show. Today we're going to speak on PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's affecting a lot of people, and it's one of those mental health issues that needs to be talked on. And there are superheroes right here in this country that are doing everything they can to bring awareness. Today, my guest is an absolute delight to have on the show. I'm so excited to be speaking with her. Her name is Jillian A. Brown. Jillian is an adventure photographer. Here's a little bit of information on Jillian. So Jillian has lived with lives with PTSD. She's dealt with numerous traumatic experiences, but through counseling, fitness, and nature, she was able to heal and now shares her story to help others. Jillian has shifted her mindset from thinking of PTSD as a stigma to using it as empowerment. In her own words, PTSD means persistence, trust, strength, determination. I'm so excited for us to meet Jillian and hear on her superpowers. She's achieved a lot. And one of her amazing adventures was that she was the first, okay, to paddle a tandem sea kayak. Now, I have no idea what that is. She's going to tell us what that is. Okay, down the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon, and she became the first Canadian to paddle across America. So, okay, listen to this. 6,500 kilometers in 150 days. I'm getting like goosebumps. Okay, it took her through 16 states with 23 portages. I have no idea. I think what that means is she actually lifted her kayak and walked with it. I think that's what that means. We'll find out from her. And oh my gosh. Okay, she did this on a broken foot. Okay, so she's amazing. She is absolutely amazing. She says, nothing is placed in front of us we don't have the strength to overcome. It's just believing in ourselves enough. Okay, I can't wait. That's it. We're bringing her on. Here is Jillian A. Brown.
Good morning.
Good morning. People are thinking, are you camping right now? What's happening?
Yes. Right? I'm at a Camp My Way. So I'm in the beautiful backcountry of British Columbia.
Amazing. So we're going to come back to Camp My Way because that's something that we need to be talking about. Okay. Okay. Now you're where people are listening to the story and thinking, okay, what? Like, this is a lot, a lot for a young woman like you. And I'm so, 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 so excited to hear all about your journey. So I want to start. I want to start with the beginning of your journey, Jillian. Tell us a little bit about you and how you grew up, and your a little bit on your journey.
For sure. So I grew up essentially half my time in northwestern Ontario on a small island with my grandparents, fortunate enough to share a lot of my younger days with my great grandparents as well. And then the rest of the time I was in Winnipeg, Manitoba, where I went to school, high school, university there. I studied fine arts and photography. Um, and I was fortunate enough to kind of be able to connect nature at a young age with my passions with art and photography. Um, Eventually, in 2010, after graduating university, I felt a little bit lost in Winnipeg, wasn't connecting to the energy there. Um, so it was thanks to my dad, which my mom has yet to forgive him for, taking me on a business trip to Vancouver, British Columbia, where I rented a car, fell in love with the mountains, and 2 weeks later, I had packed up my things and moved out west. Uh, yeah, definitely one that my mom still doesn't forgive my dad for. Um, and fell in love with the mountains, of course. And I was fortunate to get a photography job, dream job, pretty quick at a dog sledding company where I fell in love with the sport and one of the mushers. And that kind of began my journey to what created who I am today. We started a relationship together for 5.5 years. We started our own dog sled business, bred a team, rescued 16 sled dogs from all across Canada as well to put a couple teams together to be able to show others the backcountry and nature through a traditional means. And unfortunately, the relationship was abusive pretty much from the get-go. Of course, I didn't connect that at the time. Um, After 5.5 years, it was thanks to the kindness of a stranger seeing me and taking me in like family that gave me the strength to leave. I had to leave everything behind. I had been hiding $300 with my camera gear for quite a while, and I grabbed my one dog and had to leave all my other dogs behind in my home and my businesses, and ended up homeless, living in a tent for 7 months, which is where I then found out about PTSD and my new life began.
So okay, so you really just skimmed over that part, because
I
when
did.
you
I
because
figured you'd have questions. That was like the prelude, the very brief synopsis.
right? Oh, so I moved out. I camped for 7 months, and then
Yeah, yeah,
so here you are, a young woman, all alone. You find refuge in nature,
yeah, yeah, for
basically.
sure. So,
Right.
yeah, so as much as people considered me homeless, at the time I didn't, and afterwards I couldn't have had a better home to heal, to get through what I was going through, to understand what I was going through, to be in that tent in nature with my one dog, so I felt safe because of that. Um, yeah, and that was where it was taking my dog on a walk one day. Kind of after the phone calls had subsided from this person, the fear had kind of subsided, the adrenaline was essentially coming down, and I was now losing control of everything because everything was coming in all at once. Every emotion that I had blocked, every feeling, and every part of my body was now being overwhelmed um, at once, and I was very confused because now I'm in this safe place and I feel worse than I did within that environment, within the scary environment. And I'm out on a walk with my dog, and we walk to the river behind the tent, and I think about jumping in and being washed away. And it scared me enough that I immediately turned, took my dog back to the tent, and went to a counselor to find out what was going on. Um, And all they told me was, it sounds like you have PTSD. Have a good day. Not even what is PTSD. I didn't even get what it stood for. Let's just say I never went back to a counselor.
Well, yeah, I hope you didn't.
Yeah, and I am not saying don't go to a counselor, don't talk. It just was not something that was working for me. And get back to the tent that night, more confused than ever, thinking, as many of us do, PTSD, it's first responders, it's veterans, it's people that are in war. And here I am, just a girl living in the woods right now, and I'm being told of this. So I grabbed my dog again and we began to hike, and we just hiked all day. And I returned to the tent and I actually slept that night solid and woke up. Like, well, how did I sleep that night? Like, I didn't have nightmares. I grabbed my dog again and started walking. Like, it's because that was what we did different. We walked all day. I had moved that energy that was trapped within, not just the mental strains and everything, but I was tired. I had used my body. And so I just kept doing that. I kept hiking. I started letting my dog off the leash and I would follow her. She would guide me, and it allowed me to just live in the now. All I was thinking that at that moment was, where's my dog going? What's she smelling? I wonder where we're going next. How long are we going to be out here? I wasn't thinking about what I had been through or how I'm going to get out of my situation. It was just that moment. And I slowly began to connect the dots, that it was this hiking. It was doing what I did when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, when I would be sad. I would go out to our cabin, and it was my happiest place because I was out in nature wholeheartedly with no distractions. You're focused completely on where you are at that moment. And I kept doing that, and I integrated workouts while I was out in nature to move more energy that was within me, which is what was a huge inspiration and helped me get to and learn about and be able to accomplish some of the goals that you mentioned in your amazing intro.
One, one of them. Anyways, okay. So, Jillian, at what point did you realize what really had happened to you? Because I'm thinking of so many people who are suffering and they don't know. They just see the symptoms, right? And they don't know. And so, obviously, I mean, you took that step and you went and saw a counselor. Some people don't even do that because they don't have the insight. They hide it because they're afraid of what other people might think. So at what point did you realize what had happened to you before in your life?
I always knew that there was always something within me that knew that what I was going through was wrong, for one. And every day while I was still in that relationship, I would go down to my dogs, as I had to do, to feed them. And I would snuggle each one and be thankful that it was me there and not somebody else. Because somehow I knew already that I was going to get through it. I knew that I had the strength to get through it. Whether it be to leave, I didn't know how, but I knew that. And I was thankful that it wasn't somebody else who maybe didn't have that strength. And it was just, I think, because I've always been considered such a happy, upbeat, smiley person my entire life. I've always wore that mask really, really well, even when I am in some sort of pain. Yeah, junior high school, you open any yearbook, and I guarantee there's at least one comment that says, "One day I hope to know why you're always smiling so much."
What's your secret?
In every single one of them. Yeah. And it's not like I had a great life. I had a great childhood, great parents, great grandparents, very, very fortunate and blessed, and they still are amazing to this day and supportive. But I just had always figured out that smiling not only made others happy, but it helped make me happy, even when I was going through something. And I wasn't smiling when I was in the tent on that walk. I was standing at the river thinking about committing suicide. And I always thought I was truly happy, even though if I had hardships and those things, I always had this happiness somewhere. And at that moment, I didn't feel it. And I actually, to this day, I can still remember, I looked over at my dog and she was sitting there big smile, tongue hanging out. She was sitting on the banks of the river, and she was just enjoying the moment, enjoying that she was there with me, and that we were out in nature, that she was on a walk. She was just happy and content, and she had no idea what I was going through, or what I was thinking at that moment. And I think that was a big reason why I actually turned and kept walking with her. If she hadn't been there, the outcome may have been different.
Yes. Yes. People are listening to this and thinking, oh, but maybe somebody who's not familiar with PTSD, they're thinking, oh, PTSD only happens, like you said, to first responders, to, firefighters, veterans, people who have gone through like real traumatic experiences. And yet we have a lot of people who suffer with it, and because of a relationship, right? Because something like that, an abusive relationship, or maybe they saw something, maybe they witnessed something. So in your opinion, and I'm sure because in the past few years, you've been working constantly, bringing awareness to this, and you're helping people right now. And so what are some of the reasons people are going through PTSD? Can you just, outside what we think it's obvious?
For sure. So I know you have chatted with Terrence Kosikar. I know he's who put us in touch. He's the one that really made me understand. I'm not one that's a really studious person. I have trouble remembering words when I read things. So for me, I never really did a lot of research on PTSD and what I had been through and the term or anything and why I had it, because I knew what was healing for me, and that's all that mattered. I can showcase that. I could showcase that. I didn't see needed to know what it was. You just need to know the tools to feel good and happy. So when I met Terrence, he's the one that explained it, and it completely made sense to why what I was doing was working. It's lived experience. It's a buildup. You're like a battery, and eventually your battery can overload if you're not moving that energy within it. It's all it is. It's all PTSD, mental health, the struggles, the stresses. It's just energy. And that's why it makes sense that when you go out for a walk or go in fresh air or go hike or do workout, it's moving that energy. And that's also why if you look at a lot of kids, to me, this is what I looked at a lot when I was going through those things, is what did I do when I was younger that kept me so happy? Even when I was injured and I was depressed because I couldn't play the sports that I was in, what was it that I did that got me through it as a youth? And it was, I still kicked the soccer ball. I just kicked it with the other foot. I still went to the practice, felt like I was part of the team, and still did something to move that energy, even though I wasn't fully capable. And I know it's weird that I actually thought of that while I was going through it, but I completely connected that. I had been taken to a therapist when I was 16, and I hated it. Like, I'm not getting anything out of it, but I got something out of still going and moving that energy through athletics or being in nature, even if it hurt in some way. So it was when it's just energy. Anybody can get it. A kid, through breaking a bone, falling out of a tree, that's a buildup of energy. Their nervous system, our nervous systems, don't know the difference between gunshots and a broken arm. It's just energy to your nervous system. And it was wholeheartedly Terrence Kosikar who taught me that and put it in a term that made sense to me. I can visualize that.
Yes.
So it's easy to make sense.
Yes. And I remember him explaining it to me too when we first spoke, and that made total sense to me. So you could actually be in an accident, like in a car accident or something like that, and you could end up with PTSD. So and the way he explained it made so much sense. We need to gang up together and get him back on here so that he can explain it to people. So you have seen this work. So you have used it in your own life, this power of nature and physical movement. And you have seen it work with other people. So tell us a little bit about what happened after that 7 months period of, I think you said 7 months that you were living in nature. So then what happened?
And living in the tent and figuring out how to overcome and the work that I needed to put in every single day, it completely shifted my mindset to, as you mentioned, the perseverance, trust, strength, and determination. And I realized that if I could get through that, just through my mindset of, I was always thankful and I believed that I was going to get through. I kind of connected that if I just believe in myself enough, I could literally do anything. I just have to be willing to put in that work every day to accomplish it. And that's where kind of it was really just not saying no to experiences that friends or other adventurers came to me with ideas for. I wasn't the one. It's never been a goal of mine to accomplish some world first or some Canadian first, let alone I wasn't a part of the planning of either of those. But when other members fell apart or turned down because of fear, lack of believing in themselves, the person that set that goal came to me because they had connected that I probably would say yes, because I believed I could do it, even if it's something I'd never done before. And that's the only reason I ended up on those projects and accomplishing those goals, really.
So did you really go on this canoe trip not having done that ever before? This is takes
the
a
Cross
lot of.
America, I've done I've done plenty of like camping and kayaking and canoeing and things like that. The Grand Canyon one, I am not a whitewater paddler. I had done some whitewater stuff before, but I didn't know how to roll the boat. And this river is on a different class, because there's so much water in it, because it's so huge, the whitewater that you're going down. And I only knew one person on it, my paddling partner. So I was meeting the team the first time going down there, kind of learning a bunch of the gear at the same time. He trusted that I had the skills to do it. Him and I had been out paddling with orcas previously, so he had seen me paddling on the ocean and waves, and camping. So he had trust that I could do it. And that was also part of it, is this person who's the best paddler I've ever met in the world believes that I'm going to be able to do this with him. That was also part of it, was this is amazing. This person's trusting me and believes in me enough too to fulfill their goal, which continuously gave me motivation on the trip when I got scared and felt like maybe I couldn't do this anymore. It was this person still believing in me, believing that I could do it. So I better believe in myself.
So you started with a partner.
Yeah, so that was the tandem that I was just referring to, which was just a 12-day trip, the Grand Canyon one. And then, yeah, the Cross America one is the one you're about to talk about.
So that's the one you did all by yourself.
I started with a partner, as you were just mentioning. I started with somebody, and it was their goal. They had planned it out. They had a falling out with their original team, called me up a month before this trip. I said yes. And we began the trip together and unfortunately parted ways. Part of the story, parted ways, and I ended up solo and continued solo. Beginning the trip in Astoria. Yeah.
Okay, so here you are. You're starting. Okay, first of all, a tandem sea kayak. That's a special kind of kayak, I assume.
So that's okay. That one is the Grand Canyon, was a tandem sea kayak. So it's 22 feet long, and it's fiberglass boat. Held all of our equipment, all of our food for 12 days.
Gotcha.
For the Cross America trip, we began in an 18-foot Novacraft canoe. It's an open canoe with a spray skirt that we had on it, just to make it a little bit easier to paddle during winds, in the currents, give us a little bit more space we can kind of overload it a little bit more. And then moved into a solo kayak after that.
Okay, gotcha. So you're now it makes sense a little bit more. So you go so the Across America trip, you start off with a partner, and for some reason he says, "No, I'm not coming." Right?
Yeah.
That's the gist of it. He's not coming with you.
Yeah, so we paddled quite a ways together. We were together for quite a long time. 100 days roughly we were paddling together. And the nice way to put it is that there was no more room in the canoe for his ego and another person. It didn't matter that it was me. There's reasons. That's the reason that his other team didn't go on the trip, and that's why he went through numerous partners after that. And ultimately he ended up solo because of it.
Okay, well that doesn't matter. We don't care about him.
That's just the sad story. So that it's understandable. It makes sense.
Here I'm thinking, okay, so first of all, like going on this journey is just beyond me. But at least you have someone with you, you know? Now you're left alone. And so what's going on through your mind? Did you think at any point, oh, I'm not going to do this alone. This is too dangerous or too much. I'm just going to leave it.
For sure. When you're doing any expedition, I've done solo stuff before, and I've done team, one person, every type. And it's such a different mindset going in. It's a lot easier, I find, to go in to an expedition or anything with a group because you have somebody you can rely on. You have that safety. If you go in with a little bit of lack of knowledge, probably the other person at least has a little bit more in that field, and you guys even each other out. If you're having a down day, hopefully the other person will be able to pick you up. And if you're believing in yourself, the other person will likely still believe in you and help you get through all of those things. When you're solo, you have to believe wholeheartedly in yourself, or you're not going to get through. You're going to start getting complacent if you're really stressed out. It takes a lot more prep work, I find, to go into an expedition solo because of that. You have to have the knowledge for yourself. You have to know that you have the safety gear, the equipment, the full trust in yourself, as I mentioned. So that was the hardest part, was because of the way it ended up solo. I ended up solo by being abandoned on the shore of a river in the middle of nowhere left with no safety equipment, woke up to a text message. So that was really the hardest part, because to me, I just couldn't grasp somebody just doing that in general. So it was more, what did I do to cause somebody to be so cruel and so also unsafe? Even if they don't like a person, I just couldn't imagine that. What really helped get me through was that day that happened, I ran into 3 veterans who were paddling the Mississippi River. I'd never met them before. I'd actually just waved at them one day I had paddled by them. And they took me in like a sister. Like any veteran first responder does, they know that brotherhood and sisterhood, and they take you in like family. And that's what they did. And that was really what gave me a lot of strength to keep going. After that, I paddled with them for a couple days, and they continuously, the whole time, even though we were a group, they would say to each other and to me, this is your trip. If you want to go that way, if you want to go over there, you want to do this thing, this is your trip. We're here for you, though. We'll be over there if you want to meet back up with us. But this is your trip. This is Jill's trip. And it helped a lot get me through. And I would continuously say that to myself. And one of the good and bad things was a lot of the continued push, even though I ended up with poison oak and poison ivy all over my legs and arms nearing the end. I kept pushing through because I felt like I needed to for the people that were believing in me too, which is the wrong reason to keep going. But at that time, that was a huge pressure to me because I hadn't told anybody why I was solo. So I was so worried that there was going to be judgment and that people were going to be disappointed in me not completing the journey. So many people believed that if anyone was going to complete it, it would be me. And I just had that push of like, I can't let them down, until I got to Baton Rouge, which is where I finished, which wasn't the goal. It was to go to Miami, and to call it quits in Baton Rouge. I called a friend in British Columbia and talked to him for hours and hours about the decision and to stop because I felt so horrible, in every way possible, every way imaginable. And I ended up taking 30 days off of all social media and everything because I was not ready to try to explain it, thinking I needed to explain why I was stopping, thinking I'm going to get backlash and all this things. After those 30 days, when I started to go and email my sponsors or open my email even, open my social media accounts, the only messages I received was, where are you? Are you okay? What's going on? We hope you're okay. We're sending you like hugs. Can we do anything to help you? And that really helped me get through that part of it as well, was just that encouragement and the fact that I had to be introspective and be like, I'm the only one that's judging myself here.
Oh my God. Well, okay, so this in itself is such a big lesson, right? Because so many of us spend our entire lifetime trying to please other people and get validation from others. What was some of the biggest lessons, apart from like, yes, it's beautiful being out here by myself. It's scary. But what were some lessons, some key lessons that you took that had you not gone on this adventure, you would have never learned?
I think every time you go on any expedition, if you don't reach your goal, reach a summit of a mountain, or portage the whole portage because you're on a broken foot, you're always having to relearn that it's okay to stop. It's not a failure. You can always go back and redo it. You can always start it again, especially, and you don't have to explain yourself ever to anyone else about the reasoning why. It's your decision. It doesn't need to be a visual thing like the blisters on my feet. It doesn't need to be some physical ailment to end something. To not mentally be in the right place is way more unsafe than just a broken foot.
Okay, we lost you.
You.
Sorry, we lost you there, and I know you said something really important. So can you repeat that, please?
The saying that the mental side of it, is so much more unsafe to keep going with if you don't believe in yourself in some way than having just a broken foot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lesson that I'll always have to learn because it's so hard to swallow that pride, that little bit of ego, all of it to stop before you've reached your goal. And even if you know it's the most unsafe thing to do, to convince yourself that that's okay and acceptable is always going to be a lesson that I'll have to learn. And everyone generally learns over and over and over again. We need that reminder that that's okay. And you don't have to explain yourself for it. You have your reasons. If it's not safe mentally to keep going, that's okay. You can stop. That's always a big lesson. And then probably the thing I talk about the most when it comes to the Cross America trip is the generosity in the people. I've never experienced anything like that. Not a bad soul on the entire trip.
Oh my gosh.
The closest thing to a bad soul was the partner that I started the trip with. And it's not like he was a bad soul. It just, he needed to be on a solo trip.
Yeah.
And that was having that trust that that I'm in good hands, that someone else is there. Even when I'm solo, I'm not solo. There's a huge amount of people backing me in some way that are there along for the ride. From Instagram followers booking me a hotel room in the next town, yeah, and paying for it so that I wasn't alone, because they were scared once I was alone that I was alone. So they would book a hotel room. That happened a couple times. Yeah, to strangers that had been following and contacted me saying they'd never done anything like this, but we have a warm place and a meal if you would like. We'll pick you up wherever you are. All sorts of stuff. The sponsors, MEC sending me random packages that had chocolate and new shorts in it. And that chocolate, I like having a bar of chocolate on a trip like that, where I didn't have any money, because part of the thing was that the food was supposed to be supplied with. That was kind of a payment and all of that side of things. And pay was to come afterwards. So I was living off instant mashed potatoes and instant rice from Dollarama. And that chocolate bar that MEC sent, you have no idea how much you appreciate just a chocolate bar, let alone one bite of that chocolate bar each day to make that chocolate bar last. That's all you fixate on the whole day until you take that snack in the afternoon of one bite of a chocolate bar. You're just thinking about, oh, I'm so looking for, I can't wait. I can't wait for that bite of chocolate or those 5 M&Ms. Like, yeah. People think it's crazy. They're like, man, I would have just downed it. I would have been so excited. I would have eaten the whole thing. Like, you have no idea how much you appreciate that one bite and how much it saves your day when it's monsooning on you over and over and over again. And you have that little bit of thought of, there's something delightful waiting for me.
Oh my God.
That was my favorite lesson on that expedition, was just the generosity that we don't believe in that enough, that there's a lot more good in the world. And good people than there are bad. And if you're, the other thing with it is that part of that is where I am and what I'm doing, those people connect with. It resonates with them. Whether it's something that they've dreamed of doing, or maybe they've done part of it, or they're a paddler too, or an adventurer in some way, or we're in the military and just they're reliving life through you in some way. That connectivity was really, really beautiful.
I love that lesson, because we need that right now. We need to hear that there is a lot more good in the world than we allow ourselves to believe. That's a big lesson, Jillian. Big lesson.
For sure. I'm not saying that I wasn't scared each night of people. I don't fear, like, yeah, I have the regular kind of fears of nature and stuff, but realistically, the biggest fear for most of us is other people. So I'm not saying that it didn't teach me not to fear people. You can't be naive to that. Still have that cautiousness, but we can definitely trust a lot more people than we give people granted for.
So something else that I heard from you was gratitude and not taking things for granted. And I'm sure that your perspective has changed tremendously after after that trip. So how do you use that in your everyday life?
Oh, every day you have to. That's one of the tools. You have to have a full tool belt that you practice and put in your work every day. Like, Terrence is probably still out. He goes on his walk. I go on my walk every day. And because it's something that we learned to do before we met, it's not like we team up to go and do these things, even though we're both going on a walk. Those are our things, our tools. And practicing forgiveness and gratitude are two of them that are so important, that we have to forgive, even if it's just forgiving ourselves or starting as something very, very simple like that. Then moving forward to forgive the person that abused you, forgive your ex-wife, whatever it may be. And when you can eventually shift that forgiveness to being thankful for it, that's when I feel you've found ultimate healing with it. That doesn't mean you don't stop forgiving and being thankful for it. That just means that you've essentially moved that energy, I think, enough to have healed from it. So I'm always thanking, and I somehow learned to be thankful for my situation while I was there, and never holding any sort of anger because of it to the person that did things to me. I never had any anger towards it because I was just thankful, and I knew that I was going to get through and that it would probably create a better person, which I believe it has. I wouldn't be the person I am without having that experience. And that's so important for everyone to think of. You wouldn't be the person you are today or be here if you didn't have the experiences that you've had. And you've made it through because you're here. So you're doing pretty good.
You're so wise. You're so wise. You're so wise. So right now you are at Camp My Way, a wonderful place that you are a big part of. You're the CEO. And tell us what Camp My Way is. What do you do there?
So Camp My Way is the nonprofit that Terrence Kosakar started. It's a wilderness recovery program for first responders, veterans, at-risk youth, and their families affected by PTSD. And essentially, the easy way to put it is we're bringing them out of their environment into a new, natural, safe environment, giving them, teaching them discomfort to find the comfort, finding the comfort in discomfort. Really, for me, I'm just getting to take people on the expeditions that I love to do. That's how I look at it. We share the tools that both Terrence and I have learned through our lived experiences and that we practice every day. We share with them. And they may not find healing through all of them, but they know them, and maybe they'll take one home with them and use it. But maybe that one in a couple years or a month no longer works, so they'll pick up one of the other ones. That's kind of the easy way to put it. We go camping, kayaking, and we push each other and ourselves, allowing everybody to take turns leading, to learn that responsibility and teamwork. And it's impossible not to focus on the now when you have never done something like that, and when you're out of your element. There's no cell service. Yes. There's no Wi-Fi for the campers, so you're completely in an uncomfortable place for them, and learning to survive and get through that through building an emergency shelter while it's pouring rain, and then trying to start a fire, and actually starting the fire makes you go home and realize, okay, I have a house, but if I lose this house, I know I can make a shelter. I know I can find a shelter. I can build a fire. Even though the likelihood that anybody's going to be in that situation is pretty low, you can have that confidence, and it'll help guide you through life, I find.
Well, it helps with anxiety, right? Because we have a lot of anxiety from the unknown of what we're scared of, and sometimes you're scared of losing everything because maybe that has happened to you before. Now, you said you teach people to get comfortable through getting uncomfortable. And so I have a little clip that I stole from your Instagram, and has you.
Oh, I can't wait.
So I want you to, we're going to show this and you're going to explain it after, okay?
Okay.
There you go. Just don't use that other hand, okay? It's just not worth it. Just keep doing your best.
Use your shoulder, do what you gotta do, whatever. Don't listen to that guy. This is badass.
Okay, let's go. Ready? Give it all you got.
Oh, I can
Awesome.
see Terrence wanting to help you, but he's not. So
No,
what is
that
that all
was
about?
he would have helped if I wasn't getting mad at people helping me with it.
You don't, yeah, because you want to do it yourself.
Well, so the reason, okay, so the backstory to that is that was, I think, one of the final days of a 75-day expedition Terrence and I did, flipping a 400-pound tire shackled in 60 pounds of chains up the 2 mountains in the Camp My Way backyard. That was the Tired of the Stigma expedition this spring. We shifted, as we all have to learn to adapt, whether it's during these times of the new normal with COVID. We also adapted our fundraisers and our big events. Everything that we had put basically 10 months of work into had to be canceled because of COVID. But our expedition didn't need to be. It just needed to be revised a little bit. And Terrence and I still kept going because it's so important that we still share PTSD awareness. And that clip is from Mission Mountain, our second mountain. Gentleman in orange is Terrence, who's trying to help me. The other gentleman was a previous camper for a recovery camp, and he comes back as much as he possibly can to continue to learn and work through his recovery, and has become a great friend to the Camp My Way team. So he really wanted to help out too. And that was one of our last few days. And halfway through our trip, when we got to Mission Mountain, I had a camping saw close and cut off my finger. And we had to drive with my hand above my head. Yeah, it was a bit of a disaster, but they sewed it back on. And
Ooh,
so my arm was in a cast, and I couldn't use anything because all the nerves were reattached through surgery, and all the bones and everything had pins and stuff. So I couldn't use my right arm, my dominant arm. So that is why Terrence was really trying to get in on helping with that tire, because I couldn't use one of my arms. And so I'm trying to use the other one and just do that one-handed, which is ridiculous, but but I really wanted to still be a part. It was the most frustrating thing to have put in all that time and effort training and planning to be out there, and then to not be able to flip the tire anymore. So every time we had somebody join us, I had them help me flip the tire a couple times one-handed, which helped me feel like more part of it. And it's the best place to heal. As soon as surgery was done, we drove back to camp and straight back up there. I didn't want to go sit inside and heal. Like, that's going to make me so depressed. Let's go heal in the mountains. Let's keep going. Yeah, so that is that video was me trying to flip the tire one-handed because the other hand was in a cast.
So I know a little bit of a background story about the tire, but the viewers don't. So why don't you tell us, what is the significance of flipping these gigantic tires?
So you really have to talk to Terrence about the original start.
I want to.
Yes, we'll make sure. But the story behind the start of the tire is his, so I'll leave it at that for that part. But what the tire represents is essentially the showcasing PTSD and the struggles that are trapped within in some sort of visual sense, so that to help people grasp it. The tire and the chains represent the struggle, the pain, the weight that we each individually carry within us every single day. And we have to keep moving that energy, like flipping the tire. We have to keep moving that tire or it's not going anywhere. And those chains, they freaking hurt. They're rubbing your collarbone, 60 pounds of solid steel chains. And all you want to do is take them off as soon as they're on. And you have to remind yourself that it's not that easy to just shed the weight that's inside you. You can't just get rid of the pain from whatever you've gone through in your life. So to just take those chains off, it's not like that. naturally. So you have to tell yourself that as you're doing it. You have to remind yourself you're out there doing this to showcase something more than just chains upon your collarbones.
That is very good explanation. Thank you. Thank you. And
No
so
problem.
when people come to Camp My Way, how long do they stay, Jillian?
Right now, our program is a week-long program. We have run a couple privates that are 30 days. We're working on our guest cabin right now, which will open up doors to be able to operate in winter for one, but to have the opportunity to allow a camper or two to stay at the camp for 30, 60, 90 days, which is the ultimate goal, because it takes 21 days, they say, for a routine to become a routine. So for it to just be a week, as much as the campers are learning the tools, they're getting out of the environment, which is really the main benefit, is that we're taking people out of their environment and allowing for clarity and connectivity. So that is essentially the goal in the long term. But for now, because of weather restrictions, because of winter, all of these things, and just time for first responders, it is week-long programs, which is great. And we've found huge benefit with everyone to have too.
So how do people find you, and how do they get registered to your programs?
Campmyway.com is the best way to reach us. Terrence always sits down and has video chats with everyone. The main thing is you have to be ready to put in the work. If it's your mom or sister or husband contacting us saying that, oh, they need your camp, unless that person is the one that's coming to us saying, I need this, I will walk the 150 kilometers to get to you. I will walk there if you can't get me a ride. I don't care. I need this. You have to be ready to accept that you're going to have to put in the work every single day. That's such a big part. And that goes for any healing.
Yes.
You want to find healing, you can't have expectation that a therapist is going to heal you. You have to expect to go to the therapist and use it as a tool to put in the work.
Yes, that for sure. You have to want this real bad. Someone else can't do it for you. You're so right. I need to ask you, who helps run this camp, like financially? How are you guys doing this?
It's all on donations. This past summer, we were so fortunate that a $1 a Day Foundation donated funds to send 3 first responders here, which was just absolutely incredible because we had 3 that really needed to come up. And then we had Pursuit Jasper Tourism. They also donated after the Athabasca Glacier incident in Alberta, which most Canadians kind of know about. They wanted to give back to the community that was affected by it, so they donated to send some first responders to the camp. And then just people like yourself, people like those who are listening, donations, amazing sponsors helping with gear. That's it. And then Terrence and I putting in our time, and we don't make a penny off of it. It all is just to operate this and give back. There's no better way to heal than to help others. Truly.
Amazing. Whoa. Okay. I just love you guys. I love what you do. I want to make sure that we get your message out to as many people as possible. So please, for the people who are watching this, the viewers, if you're going to watch this later, please share this message with other people, because this is a great place that brings healing to people who are suffering. And so they need our support. They need your support. So go to campmyway.com and see how you can support Terrence and Jillian. They're putting in their heart and soul, blood and tear into this project. And I know, I've seen so many footage of Oh, this amazing initiative, and it blows my mind away. I have a lot of admiration for you, Jillian, for
Thank you.
what we've been through, what you've been through, and what you've done to heal yourself, and how you're using your experience and your knowledge and your story to help other people. And you keep going. You're the official photographer of Camp My Way, but you also have beautiful adventure photography. Is there some of that people can purchase? Is there something that you offer through your photography?
Personal messages and emails is the best way. Instagram is the best way to probably reach through both of those platforms, because you can private message me and email me through there. That's generally if somebody wants a print, they'll see an image on Instagram. It's basically an online portfolio for me and for any photographer. As well as, if you do go to my Instagram, please make sure to read what's written along with the photo, because that's a big part of it. It's not just a story. There's usually lessons that I've learned along the way, little anecdotes, funny stories. There's so much more than just photos on there. But Instagram, Jillian A Brown Photography, and Camp My Way, of course, is on Instagram as well, and has similar photos, not just from me, but Rob Bubeck, who's one of our photographers that comes out and donates his time. Jorn Rhodes comes out. These are incredible, like, Canadian renowned photographers that donate their time to help document our camp and our fundraisers. So they definitely deserve credit on the beautiful photography on the Camp My Way page too. And that video you shot was Jorn Rhodes' video, which is cool.
That was awesome. So I want to give you a couple more minutes. There are lots of people who are watching and lots of messages also. Thank you very much for being with us today. And I hope you got a message of hope through this. And this is to me, when I met Terrence for the first time, I think that interview touched me so much, Jillian. And I have been following you guys all along, and I'm so happy that I got a chance to meet you and have this conversation with you. I thank you so much for being here. I want to give you a couple of more minutes to leave your message, whatever you want, with the people that are watching.
Truly just believe in yourself. You've made it this far. You can keep going. You got more strength than you know.
So just to piggyback on that, I want to say you came up with perseverance. What else does it say? Trust,
perseverance, trust, strength, and determination. That's my PTSD.
Yes. Just in, like, very quickly.
Yeah.
How do, I don't want to let you go. How do you see perseverance? How do you see trust? How do you see strength and determination?
Oh, how do I see those things? Well, the perseverance side is the believing in yourself. You have to believe in yourself to keep persevering, to keep moving forward. Trust your instincts, and believe that it's okay to trust others. That's a really big part of healing. We usually put up so many walls and lose a lot of trust in humanity, in our community, in our environment. So to have trust, and even if it's one person, a stranger that asks if you're okay, to have that trust to actually answer honestly, I'm not really that okay. That's huge. Or to a therapist, whatever it may be. Strength, you have to find that strength within you to get through it. And it's there. We all have it. I always say, it bugs me when explorers say, I'm just an ordinary person doing extraordinary things. I hate when people say that, because it makes these feats climbing a mountain or paddling a river seem insurmountable. When that mountain is there and anyone can climb it, that river is there, anyone can paddle it. It's having that strength, that belief, that perseverance, trust, strength, and determination to know that you can overcome that mountain, that you can paddle that river. And that's the extraordinary part. It's not an ego thing. It's that those people that are achieving those goals have connected the dots and have figured out that they have that strength and they can achieve those things, that they can overcome, that they can get there and do it. And even if they attempt it once and they fail, they put in the work to get back and do it again and do it again and do it again till they succeed.
Amazing. That's it. That's it. You did. You did. Thank you so much, Jillian. I wish you the very best, my dear. Again, please, everybody, share this talk with other people, and go visit campmyway.com and see how you can support this amazing initiative. Thank you. Sending you lots of love, Jillian.
Thank you so much for having me. It was
absolutely my pleasure. It was my pleasure. And you're such a blast, and you're so beautiful too. Unbelievable. So nice. Okay, my dear. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. And for everybody who's been watching, I hope you took some inspiration from this talk as much as I did. And please keep watching Dela's Voice. Please visit my YouTube channel and subscribe. And also leave us comments, likes, and shares. As always, this has been another Dela's Voice, hoping to spark your soul. Till next time.
Every single person in this world has a story to share. Your story is your superpower, and it's unique to you. In sharing it with the world, you can impact millions of people. If you keep it to yourself, you are doing the world a disservice. This is Dela. I'm the host of Dela's Voice, and I help you share your superpower with the world.